Hello guys, Editing Joe here. Today you're going to get a small piece of a bigger video that I posted on my Patreon, simply because it's a conversation I want you guys to be involved in. This is about a TV show called The Pitt, which was suggested by a patron and has captured my heart. And I've started doing case discussions of the cases that happen in the pit. And yeah, I wanted to share this specific one with you guys. I hope you engage with it in the comments. Let's talk about it. And yeah, first off, one of the cases that I think is absolutely the most interesting because it just touches on so many discussions, it has so many layers, and let's unpack them. First of all, we have a teenager who gets pregnant and does not want to have the pregnancy, so she wants to have an abortion. This teenager is 14 years old, I think, and she's coming from, this is happening in the US. It's a US TV show, it's taking place in the US. And this teenager is coming from Tennessee because in Tennessee, the abortion laws, I'm assuming, are a lot more strict than where they go to, which is Pennsylvania. I don't know US states. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. And the teenager didn't trust her mother to take her because her mother didn't want her to have the abortion, so she came with her aunt. So we have two things that is just evading truth to get this abortion. One, not having it in her state because she can't, and two, lying about her aunt being her mother because her mother would force her to go home and not have the abortion. From the jump start, this is incredibly interesting and complex because this is the freaking reality. I'm going to give you the example of Portugal because if you don't know, in Portugal, the abortion law is very restrict. We have a limit of 10 weeks and we have a 4-day waiting period in between the first time you ask for it and the time you get it. So if you ask for it, for example, at 9 weeks and 6 days, you have to have the 4-day mandatory period of reflection, so you wouldn't be able to get the abortion in the end. What do we do here in Portugal? We go to Spain because the limit there is 14 weeks, which is a lot better than 10 weeks. Now, the difference between Portugal and a few of the states in the US right now is that Portugal only has this limit for choice. If you choose to have the abortion for any other reason, assault, incest, some form of medical reason, whatever, the limits are much bigger. I'm pretty sure that for medical conditions, there's no limit at all, or something like that. So yeah, this is something that happens literally everywhere. It does not matter the country you're in. It does not matter what law you have. People will want abortions and will go to extreme measures to have them if they have to. And this is the conversation that we start having with this 14-year-old. She doesn't want this baby and she's willing to do a lot to not have it. And so we find the 14-year-old with her aunt in the emergency room on another state being attended by a doctor. Now the doctor is being nice. He's like, you've passed the limit, but I know what's going on. I know this is messed up and I'm going to do you a favor and not make you a mother at 14. But then the doctor leaves. And when the girl comes back to have the abortion, it's another doctor altogether. And the doctor that attends her is the senior resident who is currently pregnant after we know that she has had a lot of miscarriages. And I love that because she never doubts it. The pregnant doctor, she never, like the fact that she's pregnant never influences her decision in giving this girl an abortion or not. The only thing that influences her decision is the fact that she's past the limit, and if this doctor makes the decision to look away from this, it could affect her medical career. And she's a resident. She doesn't have any connections or like tenure or whatever. So she goes to the senior doctor who is a past lover of hers. So the layers just start packing up, right? And this doctor is like, say no more, I will do it and I will risk my career for it, which we know is not as big of a risk because he's much senior than her and he's a white man. Let's put it like that. We know it's true. And he prepares everything, but then we come to know that the mother is not the mother, is the aunt. So the mother comes and is like, no, no abortion for you today, young lady, we're going home. And then there's like this back and forth where they are talking to each other. The girl locks herself in the bathroom. Eventually she comes out, and it's a huge discussion. And bottom line is, we find out the mother had her child when she was about the same age. And she says, yeah, I was young, but this is the best thing that happened to me. And the only thing that dissuades the mother from forbidding her daughter from having this abortion is when this resident tells her, yeah, if you do this, you're going to lose the best thing that ever happened to you, because you're going to lose your daughter. And that's the only thing that changes their mind. And what does this tell us? A lot. One, her mother wasn't evil. She wasn't abusing her daughter. She wasn't trying to impose a certain life on her daughter. She was making a decision that she thought was better for her, because when you are a parent, you often have to make these difficult decisions that your kids don't understand, don't agree with, but you know is the best for them. Except sometimes it comes to situations like this when parents think it's the best for them and it isn't. And as a parent, to have to go against your own instinct because everyone else around you is telling you that you might be wrong it's hard. It's incredibly hard. I'm not a parent. I haven't felt it, but I know it's hard. And she isn't making this decision of forbidding a daughter from having an abortion because of any like moral values or religious values. She's doing it because it's what she knows. And this is the thing that people don't talk about a lot. Like, when you are a teen mom, having a daughter being a teen mom is what you know. It's not that strange. It's not like difficult grounds, like you know what to do. Having a daughter who isn't a teen mom, who grows up to go to university to that's the unknown part, right? Because you never did that. So that's the unknown part. And we don't talk about this, about how much easier it is to perpetuate these ideas of forbidding abortions or imposing certain rules on kids if you already were done that to, like if you already did that. A parent who wasn't a parent at 14 would never even imagine to let their daughters do that. A parent who was a parent at 14 is a lot more flexible to it, a lot more bendy to the idea of a child having a child. So you see, something that looked very straightforward in the beginning turned out to be this huge conversation about a very complex about a very complex issue that is happening today, not just in the US. Like, I know everyone is freaked out that in the US they reverted the rights on abortion, but this happens in a lot of countries. And I mean, the US is turning into a dictatorship anyway. So that's what happens when one person or a very small group of people dictate all the laws and all the rules. It's personal individual freedoms, and the freedom and rights of minorities go out the window. And it's a beautiful storyline. And I think it's over with this episode 7, because the mother listens to the doctor and listens to the possibility that she might lose her daughter over this, because she's forcing her daughter to do something she doesn't want to do. And in the end, she agrees to let the daughter have the abortion, and they go home. So I think it's the end of the story. But what happens right after that? The resident doctor who was helping them has a miscarriage, like a spontaneous miscarriage again, which we learned in the very beginning of the show that she's had others before, at least one before. And it's the layers, guys, because we know that in certain places in the US, and I'm assuming in other places in the world as well, there are people who want to categorize women who have spontaneous miscarriages as murderers, as people who have abortions. And the idea that you can use religion and just arbitrary moral rules and guides to have control over women's bodies, something that is so natural, something that happens everywhere. Like if abortion was a thing specific to the US population or specific to the Portuguese population or to a small place in the world, you would have to study why it exists and maybe consider if it's wrong. But it's not. It's something that happens always. It does not matter what laws are in place. It will happen always. It's just a fact of existing that people sometimes get pregnant and they don't want to be pregnant, so they are willing to terminate the pregnancy, even if it is as a risk to their lives. And the whole discussion about abortion being used as a contraceptive method is absolutely freaking disgusting, because I don't think that people understand the absolute emotional and physical toll it has on you to make this decision. And it's just, to anyone that might be watching this now or in the future and has had to deal with this, not only to deal with making a decision like this, which is already fucking impossible, but having to deal with the criticism and the judgment and possibly the barriers to doing it, I am so sorry. And I'm especially sorry because I don't think the future is going to be any kinder to us. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And we all know there's a right-wing wave passing through the world. And I just hope it passes quickly. Honestly, I don't want to have to live the best decades of my life in a freaking right-wing dictatorship. Because, I mean, we had one not that long ago. And I don't want that shit again. But that's where we're going, apparently. But anyway, that was the case of the teenage pregnant girl and how it connected so very clearly to the personal stories of some of the doctors. In this case, the resident doctor who is pregnant and has clearly not enough power to make those overriding decisions. And it connected to to Dr. Robbie, who is more senior, has more power, and had a personal connection to this doctor. Everything is related. Like, they're making a conscious decision of what doctors see what patients in a way that it relates to their personal lives. And it's just, I'm loving it. They did that in Grey's Anatomy as well. They're doing it here. They do it often in like these shows where it's either a medical team or a police force or whatever solving cases and working with patients. They relate the personal lives of the people who are helping the patients or the citizens to those cases, and it's just always great. And this is one example. I'm so sorry that I'm talking for so long. I really enjoyed this story in the show, and I think it was so well done. Because these conversations need to be had, and sometimes it's a lot easier to like have them within a TV show that clearly like shows you one example of the reality that exists out there, especially if you don't have access to it or if you don't know anyone who ever went through this, It helps you create empathy for people who are in those situations.